Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today is Friday, and um, we will be going over what to watch today. Of course, today we have AMC earnings, pre-market, as well as yesterday we had our Apple earnings and Shopify earnings, which are big names to watch going into today. But before we begin, we're going to go over our economic reports and what to expect today. Today we do have non-farm payrolls, and 1 hour from now we also have unemployment rate at 8:30 a.m. as well. 1 hour from now, and at 3 p.m. we will be having consumer credit, so that's going to be something as well big to watch for. Um, Hope you guys have a great day. So um, let's get into it. We're going to go into charting futures first, going over Nasdaq and what to watch. Right now, we are still stuck in our range. From what it seems, we bounced yesterday off that 13,014 level, holding that support strong. And now we're going to be watching um, what to watch will be this likely support here. Um, we're gonna go over and chart first off this support level right here. We're gonna have that level in mind, but also there was one yesterday where we held at open, and I definitely want to continue watching it going into today. And it was this sort of wedge support here to the bottom side where we held pretty strong, including support where we ended up gaining some buyers and pushing up higher. Now, pre-market, we are starting to see some volume come in, so keep that in mind for a continuation, especially as we look at ES. We are starting to get to a tighter spot, which is at 4109 to 4115. That is an expected resistance price. So just be aware of that whole area. For this morning, we may open up around it. We may see some selling pre-market. But overall, just be aware that as we get closer to open, we're going to be in a tighter spot to either sell off or, depending on how investors react to Apple earnings, which we had a little bit of a pump, we could continue up. In fact, we could probably hit yesterday high a day and push up higher. And this will all depend on just how we choose to move today. My highest area for ES wise is going to be the supply. My lowest area, of course, is going to be this 4060, which we held nicely yesterday. I believe we're going to have enough volume to hold above it. In fact, yesterday I believe we did fill gap on SPX. Yep, we did. 4061 gap. We ended up bouncing exactly at that 4049 level 2 times, which was nice because we held, we pushed up. We didn't get to fill this pre-market gap, so we actually do now have a new gap level to watch out for. So I'm going to remove this gap um, right around here. We're going to remove this gap, and we're going to add a gap over here. And we're going to keep in mind that this is something we're going to try to see if we can fill today, or if next week we get into this level and SPX decides to push up and fill. And if we do fill up today, fill this price level, especially with Apple being relatively strong this morning, then we will watch for some puts at this fill, including 4090 inflection price for me, as well as this 4092 key level. I'm going to be watching for puts there today once we get up there. Likelihood of us hitting that, especially with expected volume, is going to be pretty tough, which just helps our case because if we do hit it, then there should be some sellers at that price. As far as supports go, 4049 held pretty nicely as well yesterday. So if we get down to that price, I'm going to look for it to hold as well, but likelihood we break, especially if markets are weak. If we end up going any lower, then watch out for 4037, 4036, strong level. But overall, after that, that 4017 is a big buy spot for me. It's going to be something I'm watching for next week as well. So we are in a great position on SPX for range scalping, for opportunities. So definitely keep in mind there's a lot of money to be made in these moves, and we'll take advantage of that. But going back to ES again, this morning we are having a little bit of a push to Apple. But yeah, if we open up around this price 4109, then we're going to look at 4115 for morning volume. If we get above that, then we should be patient, see how the market reacts. But that is an expected sell price for a lot of investors. So just keep in mind, if we continue to rally and let's say it's 9:30 and we open up at this price, good chance we sell off. If not and we go higher, then just be patient, because we're going to look at first off this whole area of selling, 4145 to reject, and or back at supply entrance, or this resistance spot. So overall, anything within this range, keep in mind, large chance of selling. This spot is also have a good chance of selling, but we have to be really careful, as we are really tight into it at open, especially with Apple. So we'll keep that in mind. 4060 big buy spot, we mentioned that. And now I guess we have an idea of where our levels are going to be set at. Anything between this range, we'll just be patient. We won't take anything. Same thing goes with this morning market open. If we chop around this supply or demand spot, which is 4076 to 4090, we will be patient. We won't trade anything. We'll in fact look at SPX rather than ES for specific levels in that range, which should be around 4061, 4065, and 4070 for levels in that range. Now let's go back to NASDAQ. We were talking about the support. We will go over why this support could be a good spot to watch for. Some puts below. First off, we do know that the strength of this yesterday's little bounce spot, which is right here, we ended up holding this little wedge support, and then bouncing after having that 13,014 level. See some buyers. We held it pretty strong. And now we're starting to see that VWAP. The price is above VWAP. So if we end up continuing today with the strength, then what I want to expect is we hold, we go pushing, we go pushing, we go pushing, and then we use that as a support and just continue till we start to hit this area of selling and then this area of selling. That two levels should be the tightest spot today, where we should see rejections, whether we decide to squeeze today and end up breaking support, which I'm going to show you what that means in a second. So this means if we ended up trying pushing, we end up getting closer to resistance, eventually we'll break support, will fail, and we can grab some puts at the breakout and target some key levels, which one could be this 13,115, not only because it's at this level at the moment, but we also have this high, this resistance, this high, and then of course we can probably find a few other levels like this. So that's an idea that we can use for NASDAQ, and we can trade it through QQQ. But still, we're going to need some more information, especially as we get closer to open 2 hours from now, to kind of just let the chart run and see how we look. As long as we can hold above the support, we should be fine. As long as we can hold below this resistance, we should be fine to take any sort of breakout below. But yeah, keep in mind this 13014 is going to be a spot to watch out for some targeting, anything below that as well. But yeah, that should be it for futures. This SPX is going to be the #1 thing I watch, and it should be the controller sort of for what we're watching today. So let's move on. Let's go on to individuals. Let's look at what the market is doing. First off, Apple, as you guys know, they had their earnings, and with that, they are pushing off pretty strongly. Yesterday, they bounced off of a key support pre-market, and now we're starting to see some strength with the higher highs. In the daily frame, if you look at this trend, we already broke out of their resistance. So right now, they're going to be pretty bullish, especially if we continue going into next week. And if they hit their high a day, they should be continuing even higher. I guess what we can target for next, first off, keep in mind this is a resistance, 171.06. If we break off of that and we continue, then next area would probably be around this 176 spot high. But now we're going to go into the 1 month frame, and we're going to look at what's the monthly high. So far, it looks like that 171.06 is our monthly high. So if we can get to that today, and we see that there is a likelihood of a rejection there, then we will likely grab puts, and the market will start to tank. So that is going to be a key spot to watch for Apple. 171.06 for either momentum loss, to see if there's weakness in the stock, or even profit takers from this morning's push. 171.06 is going to be a key spot, and if that aligns with our either gap high a day yesterday or gap entrance on SPX, we should use the market to work together and short around that fill at 4090. So let's move on. We're gonna quickly go through individuals and check out what to watch out for. We have this NVIDIA range. NVIDIA is at 277.81 resistance. After breaking out, we sort of had our trend, which we're going to go and look at a moment where a lot of individuals have this range, where now they're starting to see breakouts in either direction. And what we're sort of looking for now is range breakout, and now breaker block. Now, what is a breaker block? A breaker block is a supply and demand that was once a supply and demand, using it as a support, resistance, however we want to phrase it. So in this case, we want to see this, now that it re-entered, start to head up and reject it again and head back down towards demand. We do not want to see any sort of strength at this supply. You want to see only weakness. So if we can get some selling going on NVIDIA today, we can use that for next week to try and eye some puts. As long as we hold above supply, we should be good in our analysis for Monday. Other than that, we're going to go on to the next one. Tesla's also doing the same thing we mentioned, where it's chopping, and it has that same idea where now we're deciding which side are we going to break out. Are we going to break up? Are we going to break down? Whichever side we do end up taking, we're going to grab either calls or puts. Either way, our opportunity should be pretty high. So just keep that in mind. And especially with this wedge resistance, we're going to watch for calls above that, and we should be fine. I'm not going to watch the wedge resistance. I'm watching this high, as that high is going to be a lot safer as far as increase or continuation. So keep that in mind. That's another stock to put on your list. And then let's go on to, I'm not trading Meta. Let's go on to Amazon is also something I'm not really interested in. AMD had earnings. Looks like yesterday they had a pop. Also want to check out Shopify, which had some strength. They could see some selling. It is possible they see some selling, especially with them selling off pre-market. We'll see how they react today, but no levels at the moment. Netflix, also a stock that actually broke support recently, so they've been chopping around support. Every time I see this pattern, it normally dies down, where we chop around support and then we start to see sellers gave up and sort of fall down. Now this chop could be because we have another support marked down that we don't see, so we're going to go check that out. Somewhere between there we may see support. So there could be a little bit of a wedge there that we're not seeing, and if we break below it, then we may continue lower. But right now the trend for Netflix is bearish. We have that idea after being bullish, so we're either going to see it chop continue or wick down back down to this low. Home Depot back at support could be a watch or buy. We've seen it hold this so far every single day of this week, or not every day, but throughout the entire week we've seen this 286 support hold pretty fairly. And then Microsoft is another one that we talked about, the range, where we are bouncing and holding this level, and now we're kind of watching for an either way breakout with strength, so keep that in mind. And once we do, then we'll take a position, and this high is going to look to be very good, very solid, as Microsoft has been fairly strong ever since earnings. So we also have this 314 resistance that we're going to watch out for daily frame, so keep that in mind as well. All right, guys, this is going to be all for today. I know it's a quick session, but I have to get into something really soon. But we're going to try to do more of these early in the morning for y'all, either between 7:15, 7:30, or try to go for around 8 o'clock. But I hope you guys have a great trading day, and trade smart, trade safe. And of course, if you're not going to trade today, have a great weekend. But we have ideas in mind. If you want, recheck this live, go back and make sure to check out what we're looking at to just keep yourself updated. I'll let you guys know through Twitter what I'm watching. I'm going to give you guys a list and a run through what I'm going to be going over. But other than that, hope you guys have a great trading day. Peace out.